Caleb Plant's swagger is unmatched. Now I get using terms like swag and aura, which is the new term nowadays, is pretty cringe, but when you're talking about Caleb, I really think you have to mention them. And when you look not only at his boxing career, but his personal life, this guy's a warrior. He tragically lost his 19-month daughter to an unknown illness, then lost his mother when she was killed by the police. A 2011 Golden Gloves champion, he turned pro in 2014 and won his first world title in 2019 when he won the IBF super middleweight title. He defended that belt 3 times before facing Canelo Alvarez in 2021 for the undisputed titles. He was obviously the underdog, with only 21 career fights and never faced a guy nowhere near the level of Canelo. But it was Caleb's charisma, his confidence, and his perseverance in that fight that gained the respect of many fans across the world. He ended up going 11 rounds with the prime Canelo, taking shots but not backing down. He would end up getting stopped, but came back a year later to deliver the knockout of the year against Anthony Durrell, a man who criticized Caleb Plant because of his race, something that unfortunately isn't new in the sport of boxing. From his fight day outfit, to his knockout, to his celebration, and to his ability to make a fool out of a racist, Caleb was becoming a fan favorite. He started his own clothing brand and had his own action figure. This is all coming from a dude who grew up in a trailer park. But another reason why people respect Caleb, he does not duck anybody. He would call out and fight days what all fans like out of a fighter. Warrior, leave it all in the ring. Don't back down. Don't try to avoid. Don't be a boring fighter. Don't try to run. Leave it all out there in the ring. That's exactly what Caleb Plant does. Another problem with Caleb was he was inactive. He was inactive after David Benavidez loss, almost a 2-year layoff. Alright, if you want to be good, you want to be champion again, you have to be active, you have to constantly fight. But he comes back and fights Trevor McCumbee, an unknown boxer, for an interim belt. Right, we all were surprised when McCumbee actually knocks down Caleb Plant. He was winning the early start of the fight. Usually that's the opposite. Caleb Plant does good in the beginning of the fight and he starts to trend downwards in the later part of the fight. Bad start by Caleb, he gets knocked down, got hurt early, but he comes back and stops Trevor McCumbee. And he had an incredible round, incredible showsmanship. That's what he wants to be. He wants to be a showman. He wants to get the fans riled up. He was doing just that, dancing, celebrating. That's why people love Caleb Plant. So now the win streak starts now for Caleb Plant. He's not going to fight this year. Alright, but he's definitely going to fight next year. He should. If he wants to be champion and he has to fight next year, he should be fighting twice next year. His next fight should be, of course, Munguia, Berlanga. Another problem with Caleb is he does have a problem out in public. He's a bit of a hothead. We saw that with Charlo when he slapped him. We saw that with Berlanga getting up in his face, which I guess you could say just boxers being boxers trying to promote a fight. Ryan Garcia, already, he was having problems with him in person, having problems with him on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. He even has problems with fans. The other day, a fan was calling him up on stage. Caleb Plant got distracted, got under his skin, got baited, and then he's having problems. You can't be too much of a hothead, but maybe if that's how he wants to promote his fights, maybe that's how he wants to promote his brand, go ahead. All I gotta say is another cringe term that people like to use nowadays, he stands on business. But what's next for Caleb Plant? Well, there's a lot of options. We just saw another super middleweight title fight. Canelo, of course, versus Berlanga for the unified super middleweight titles. That leaves Berlanga, a fight that could have happened before this Canelo fight. Berlanga versus Caleb Plant. That fight could very well happen early next year, right? February, March. All right, we can also see Munguia. He's fighting soon this week, I'm pretty sure. Alrighty, that'd be a good fight as well. Interim belt, so it's not like nothing is on the line. An interim belt, maybe a vacant belt. Canelo, I don't know what's going to be happening with him. I'm sure he'll drop a belt now. He already dropped the IBF belt against maybe Caleb Plant versus Skull. Who knows? But the options are definitely opening up now for Caleb Plant. He has no excuse, alrighty, to at least fight for a title again. He doesn't have to win a title, but he does not have an excuse to no longer at least fight for a title. Alright, he has to fight for a title. Those are his options. Munguia, Berlanga, Skull. I think he should stay at 168. Alright, he does not have the power, doesn't have the work rate, doesn't have the chin to bump up to 175. Because he kind of struggles at 168 already, the way it is, like I mentioned. Softer hands than usual compared to the other guys in that division. So he kind of struggles a bit at 168. I made a video about a year ago that he should maybe bump down to 160. Alright, at middleweight. I thought he'd be a bit better at that weight, but if he wants to be comfortable, he needs to stay active. If he wants to win another title at 168, he needs to get comfortable there, he needs to stay active. That's the biggest thing. We'll work on power. The gas tank didn't look terrible, alrighty, against the McCumbee fight, but McCumbee did not have a work rate like Munguia or Berlanga would have. Those two fights I like to see. Plant versus Munguia, Plant versus Berlanga. I prefer a Berlanga fight. That fight was supposed to happen beforehand. Put that as a co-main for a pay-per-view bout. Definitely a good pay-per-view bout there. A lot of buys that will happen. Caleb Plant, definitely one of the coolest boxers in the sport. Why? Because he came from nothing. Struggling, but still puts on for the fans. Had a rough personal life, but still puts on for the fans. still a showman, still a must-see fight. Every fight that Caleb Plant has is a must-see fight. It's an exciting fight. All right, no boring Caleb Plant fights. Let me know what you guys think about Caleb Plant. What's next for Caleb Plant? Who should he fight? Let me know down in the comments. Make sure to subscribe for more boxing content. Make sure to leave a like. I'm out, guys. Peace.